Why are you here?
Did you kill her?
What do you think?
Moved in down the street from me. Maybe.
Our story begins with Agatha Weeks, a novelist who tasted early success by winning the Pulitzer Prize for Sick Poppy, but whose life then completely fell apart. Her son Cooper died in a car accident, leaving a wound that never healed. This is where the first spark of doubt is born. Although she is convinced that the other driver, Teddy Fenwick, was drunk. He refused a breathalyzer test, and the police, in a cruel twist, ended up charging Agatha with reckless driving. Sunk into a self-destructive spiral, Agatha has not written a single decent word since. The fragile piece of her broken life is violently shaken when two enormous dogs go berserk at her door. Their owner is her new neighbor, Niall Jarvis, a magnate shrouded in dark rumors, including that he murdered his wife, Madison. Tension escalates when Agatha is the only one who opposes Niall's plan to cut down the local forest. Niall tries to bribe her, but when she refuses, he invites her to lunch. In a moment of vulnerability and doubt, Agatha confesses the truth about her son. Niall, seeing his opportunity, suggests that she write her next book about him. As they leave, they run into Teddy Fenwick, and Niall delivers a promise loaded with menace. It is unfair that he walks free. Betrayal and mystery ignite. That night, Detective Brian Abbott gives her a deadly warning. Stay away from Niall Jarvis. The next morning, the news explodes. Teddy Fenwick has disappeared. Agatha feels the weight of suspicion, but when she meets with Brian, she faces the bitterest doubt of all. He does not believe her. Why would Niall kill for a stranger? Agatha decides to risk everything and pitches Niall's biography to her editor. As she draws closer to him, she forms an unexpected bond with Nina, Niall's wife. In a moment of confession and doubt, Nina swears that he did not kill Madison, although she believes Neil loved his late wife more than he loves her. The tension becomes suffocating when Niall's uncle, Rick, breaks into Agatha's house and discovers that she is working with Brian Abbott. The web of family betrayal is revealed. Martin Jarvis orders the biography shut down, and Rick reveals to Niall that Agatha is an informant. The plan to trap Niall is set in motion. The moment of maximum tension occurs when Niall takes Agatha to the top of a building. He knows she has been talking to Brian. Agatha, standing at the edge of the abyss, improvises to save her life. When they come back down, the doubt about her survival nearly breaks her. Meanwhile, Brian infiltrates Niall's house. Political betrayal comes to light when an ally of the Jarvis family turns against them, forcing Niall to return home and causing the family dog to attack Brian. Emotional tension explodes when Agatha stops an art exhibition by her ex, Shelley, to protect her. Shelley responds with a devastating verbal betrayal, blaming her for her son's death. Agatha begins to doubt her sanity until Brian discovers a live broadcast of Teddy Fenwick in captivity. In an act of betrayal by omission, Brian lies to Agatha, telling her he found nothing so he can act alone. Niall beats Brian nearly to death, with chilling coldness. He returns to Agatha and tells her a distorted version of the encounter. He leads her to Cooper's bedroom, where she falls asleep in a state of total emotional betrayal. Niall believes he is falling in love with her. When he arrives home, Nina slaps him in an outburst of rage over a lifetime of marital betrayal. The next morning, doubt turns into suspicion when Nina notices bruises on Neil. Martin, fed up, delivers a final betrayal of family ties and decides to cut off his son. Meanwhile, Niall crushes Brian's car with him inside. Agatha visits Madison's brother, who injects a new dose of doubt by revealing that his parents' silence was bought. When Agatha reviews Madison's diary, she finds the definitive proof. Niall recycled an old suicide note to cover up her murder. Betrayal manifests in silence. Agatha sends a message to Brian, but Niall has his phone. The hunter has his prey in his sights. This entire web of lies began with a $200 million debt that Madison's father tried to save with a 5% stake in the project, risking total ruin. Madison's brother's persistent suspicion was what placed the tools in Agatha's hands. The discovery of the diary revealed the betrayal of Madison's memory. Niall had recycled a page from 2017 to fabricate a fake suicide note. In a final moment of harrowing tension, we realized that Agatha sent the definitive proof to Brian, without knowing he was already dead, leaving her message and her safety at the mercy of the beast at the most critical moment of the story. Betrayal manifests in silence. Agatha, unaware that Brian has been eliminated, sends the diary evidence without knowing that the message goes directly into the hands of her enemy. Doubt and desperation consume Agatha as Brian's silence stretches on. Although she receives a reply from his phone, she does not know it is Niall typing behind the screen. Martin uses fabricated violence to destroy Olivia Benitez, a betrayal of the truth that the media eagerly repeats. The Jarvis family does not stop there, sending disguised thugs to turn a peaceful protest into bloody chaos. The strategy works. The media tear Olivia apart, and cornered by planted journalists and a hostile public opinion, she ultimately gives in to Niall's project. In suffocating doubt, Agatha goes to Brian's house and finds Erica. The tension becomes unbearable when she discovers the video of Teddy. Erica faces an irreversible moral dilemma and chooses to report the disappearance, having been blackmailed by the Jarvis family years earlier. Erica finally chooses justice. She puts her family in safety and reports Brian's disappearance. Upon returning home, Agatha faces the ultimate betrayal of her own work. Niall has manipulated her manuscript to frame her for Teddy's murder. The web of betrayals expands into the past, when it is revealed that the Jarvis fortune comes from the cartel. Madison, the original infiltrator, had been trying to escape the beast. Finally, institutional betrayal is confirmed. Erica had been working for them under blackmail. Agatha becomes trapped in a web of lies, fighting to survive. The only loose end connecting Niall to the cartel money was a man named Nick, responsible for receiving the cash. In a move of absolute corruption, Niall paid Nick to take full responsibility. Brian nearly loses his sanity as he watches his entire case collapse overnight. The truth emerges from the shadows. The infiltrator within the Jarvis empire turns out to be Madison herself. She lived trapped in her marriage, with the terrifying certainty that Niall would kill her if she tried to leave. This was not unfounded paranoia. Once Niall became so jealous of an artist she worked with that the man turned up dead shortly afterward. The pattern of horror is confirmed. Over time, anyone Niall disliked simply disappeared. Madison knew that behind her husband's charming mask lived something savage, a beast she could only escape if he ended up behind bars. Despite the genuine feelings between Madison and Brian, Nick's bought confession left them powerless. Tension reaches its breaking point the night. Madison returns home to find Niall waiting. He suspected Nina, but she, in an involuntary betrayal, revealed that she had followed Madison and discovered her meeting with Brian. Madison tries to lie, claiming that Nina was seeking revenge over a firing, but Niall does not relent. The veil of deception finally shatters. Madison breaks down and calls him what he is, a serial killer. Niall loses control, claims he saved her life, and in a final act of violence kills her. He immediately turns to his father, who decides to protect the family legacy above all morality. They clean up the body, and the next morning, Nina finds the fake suicide note. The danger spreads. Alerted by Niall, the FBI raids Agatha's house, but she narrowly escapes. Her attempt to contact Erica is thwarted by an ambush from Rick, who threatens the agent's family and steals Madison's diary. Even Shelley, Agatha's ex, joins the wave of distrust, convinced that the pain of Cooper's death has driven Agatha insane. In an act of pure desperation, Agatha calls 911 and reports herself, cornering Nina in her gallery. As the police close in, Agatha reveals the truth. She knows Nina has felt Niall's darkness but has chosen to deny it. Doubt is planted in fertile ground. Nina begins to understand that Niall has never shown her his true face. Agatha is arrested, and Nina returns home to a Niall who already suspects her. He tries to manipulate her with lies about Cooper's room, but Nina's eyes open to the evidence. She remembers the fierce argument on the night of Madison's death, and how the suicide note, strangely peaceful, did not match the chaos of that moment. Confronted by his wife's distrust, Niall finally breaks. He admits to Madison's murder and experiences a sickening relief at sharing his burden. In a twisted psychological turn, Nina comforts him, accepting the monstrosity of her husband. Friends of Resum and Max, I ask you, what would you have done? Rick tries to hide this new mess from Martin, but the patriarch deduces the truth. Betrayal of blood comes at a physical cost. The weight of covering up a murderer again and again causes Martin to suffer a devastating heart attack. Perhaps he was not the monster Niall described. In the end, his son's crimes and cartel ties have pushed him into the abyss. Before continuing, if you're enjoying this video, remember to subscribe. More than 95% of viewers are not subscribed, so help keep this channel alive. We continue. The web of family betrayals comes to an end at a lethal price. With Martin hospitalized, Niall takes his place at the press conference. In a betrayal of her principles, Councilwoman Olivia Benitez gives in to pressure and announces her support for Jarvis Yards. amid shouts of sellout from protesters. However, Niall's triumph is short-lived. As he steps down from the podium, he receives a recording from Nina. The marital betrayal is complete. She recorded his detailed confession to the murders of Madison and Teddy. Tension explodes with the fall of the magnate. Niall is arrested and, far from repenting, decides the world should finally know his true nature. After years hidden behind the family name, he starts singing like a bird, confessing every sin. His most twisted motivation is revealed. He killed Teddy to earn Agatha's favor and turn her into his soulmate, a companion in darkness. Agatha, in a masterful narrative move, plays along with Niall to secure the exclusive story. The result is The Beast in Me, a book that becomes a massive success and puts her back on the literary map. Doubt about her past finally dissipates. Agatha sells her house and admits her share of responsibility in her son's death, finally finding peace in her healing process. The fate of the Jarvis family is sealed with tragedy. Martin dies in the hospital, unable to survive the disgrace of his son. Nina gives birth to a daughter, hoping she will not inherit her father's horrifying traits. As for Rick, after being arrested, he faces a moral dilemma that shatters his heart. Out of love for his family, he decides that the only way to stop the disgrace is through a final betrayal of blood. He uses his criminal contacts to have Niall murdered in prison. The cycle of violence is completed. The origin of the fall? The title The Beast in Me takes on a literal and terrifying meaning. Niall has successfully framed her. He planted Teddy's body in Cooper's room and rewrote the book to make it look like the confession of a deranged murderer. It is revealed that Madison, furious because Brian used her gallery, was the key piece Niall tried to destroy. In this labyrinth of secrets, suspicion wrongly falls on Nina. While the viewer finally understands that the Beast does not only kill, but devours the lives of everyone around him, the truth emerges from the heart of the Empire. The true informant was none other than Madison. She lived like a prisoner, convinced that Niall would kill her if she tried to flee. Niall's history was marked by the disappearance of people he disliked. She knew that behind his charming mask lived a savage beast. Despite the genuine bond between Madison and Brian, Nick's bought confession left them defenseless. With this blow, the cycle of violence is completed, protecting the family name from further disgrace and burying the beast, once and for all. And there you have it, the complete, detailed, and dramatic story of The Beast in Me. What did you think of the plot twist? Do you think Nina was complicit by comforting him? Or does true love justify forgiving a monstrosity of that magnitude? Leave your theories in the comments. I appreciate you being a loyal Minotero. If you want to secure your seat and join the faithful line of Resim and Max, don't let curiosity consume you. Press join. Remember, sometimes the most dangerous truth is the one we write ourselves. See you in the next Maximized Resumen.